Hi, welcome back to another episode of the FHS Podcast. My name is Louis, and I am the CDO of Ennismore, the deputy head of the region. And I have the privilege to interview Christoph Hoffmann today. Hopefully, it will be a discussion rather than an interview. Christoph Hoffmann is the founder of 25hours, one of Ennismore's most interesting, innovative, and out-of-the-box brands. Christoph, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Thank you, Louis. And I hope so as well, that it's not going to be an interview. I will interview as well if I find the right questions. Yes, you said everything. I'm Christoph. I founded 25hours together with three partners in 2005 back in Hamburg, Germany. And our first project was a very small 49 rooms hotel in Frankfurt, in which we were trying to be already very creative and very innovative with a very small budget. The hotel still exists. And if I compare it with what we have done in the meantime in Dubai with 434 rooms, it's been quite a journey.
Christoph, can you just tell us a bit more about how the entire 25 hours idea started and what does really represent the 25 hours in your mind back then and today?
Okay, and please help me, Louis, because you know the brand as well as I do in the meantime. But I think, I mean, I worked all my life in hotels, and I have to say, I love hotels. I'm a hotel aficionado. Even as a child, I was already enthusiastic about discovering beautiful lobbies. I had the ranking of the best bathrooms in Europe in hotels, and my whole life, everything was about hotels. But what I loved about hotels, I hated at the same time. I never liked boring hotels. I was almost detested by hotels which don't have a story, something mystical, something beautiful to tell. And this is why it's been really, really special for me to move on with that. And I strongly, from the beginning, I really believe that if we do hotels, the hotels have to be extremely individual. We want to do something which is the opposite of creating standards in a hotel. We knew from the beginning that it's important to dive much deeper on gastronomy. We said always that hotel restaurants are boring. We want to have restaurants in our hotel with its own brand, its own face, its own identity, and same applied for bars. And that was which we've tried from the beginning. And over the whole thing, we were trying to put something which we said, it's the story, it's the narrative. We said it's a little bit like doing a movie script. We wanted to have something in hand to tell the story about the whole hotel. And our benchmark back then were the beautiful, old, mysterious, legendary grand hotels, such as the Raffles in Singapore or the Bad Rutz Palace in St. Moritz. When you walk through those hotels, you have automatically a story to tell, because those hotels are, 100 years old, and many things happen in there. And this is what we were so fascinated about hospitality. And this is what we were trying to put into a different frame by creating a brand which is more democratic, less complicated than, a very snobby luxury hotel, but at the same time as impressive. So that was kind of the idea, looking back at it. And then after we've done the first two properties in Frankfurt and in Hamburg, all the developers in Europe became aware of us, and that it was fairly easy to, start all over again. And then I learned also how beautiful it can be to dive into a new city, like, for example, Vienna, where I'm sitting right now, and to get to know the culture of Vienna and to create something out of the Viennese or surroundings, the culture, the locals, the people, and everything. And this is what you, I guess, experience more or less in every 25hours hotel. When you go there, it's not a cookie cutter product. It's not a standardized product. It's always a product which relates very much to the microcosmos of the place where we are.
That's amazing, Christoph. And actually, talking about all of this, I think it's a good gateway to discuss about how me and you started first our relationship a few years ago when I called when Accor back then had the acquisition of the 25 hours brand, and I had an opportunity for you in Dubai. And back then you were not extremely excited. But if you fast forward to today, I think what we've managed to do in the development of the 25 hours Dubai has been exceptional. And we've managed to shake a city completely. Maybe you can tell us a bit about the journey of taking the 25 hours brand that it was very European centric into a new market, which is Dubai, and how was that experience for you? Because I can tell you that for me it was one of the most interesting experiences I had in my career, and it actually what pushed me to want to do a bit more than just signing deals, is understanding the full spectrum of hotel. And this all started with the 25 hours Dubai. So Christoph, tell us a bit about that journey.
Yeah, and before I start explaining, thank you that you convinced me, because fast forward, it was a big success and it was a great experience. But back then, and we're talking about, I think, was it 2018,
beginning of
when
18.
we talked for the first time? Yeah, 17. So I came with a very European point of view by saying, and also, by then we only had cities like Vienna, Hamburg, Berlin, Zurich, places which exist since, 1,000 years. And for us, it was always like, yeah, we need that, we need that long history of a city. We need that cultural background. And for us, Dubai was the opposite. Dubai was a place which, was brand new, which didn't have those long traditions and centuries of creation. It was a place which came out of the desert. And that's why I was a bit hesitating about it. And at the same time, when we spoke over the phone for the first time, he said, oh, it's right next to a conference center. And I said, no, conference center, that's not the right. If we go to Dubai, let's go to the beach at least. So these were the discussions we had in the beginning. And then I came and I slowly but surely realized how much you can do in Dubai when it comes to hospitality. By now, I understand that Dubai is perhaps one of the most exciting places when it comes to hospitality as such. And for us, it was even more interesting because by the time when we entered Dubai, there was nothing else but either luxury hotels or corporate hotels. But the niche, which we have, successfully covered, the niche of doing something for a younger audience, a lifestyle-orientated audience, a creative audience, that didn't exist. And I'm so happy to see how successful we were to create the living room for the creative crowd of Dubai. And it also worked, of course, because we had a great owner who supported us in everything we have done. And it was a great experience. And to me, it's just a beginning for what's going to happen in the Middle East. Of course, without you, it wouldn't work. But it's also something we need to keep in mind when you go to Saudi Arabia, because that's for me the next step, which is super exciting.
The next point, Christoph, to jump to Saudi Arabia, which I believe is the main focus of the conference and for our discussion in general. I think that what we've managed to accomplish in Dubai has been quite interesting. We've managed to partner up with some extremely interesting people from Busaina and Cinema Akid and many other people in 25 hours. Now going to Saudi, we have one project that is announced, which is a NEOM, and then we're going to announce the second one during the conference, and we're actually working on the third one that is not announced. The 25 hours will have a big impact on changing the hospitality landscape in Saudi Arabia. So maybe, Christoph, you can tell us a bit about how do you think we're going to be able to create an impact in the respective markets? What are we going to be able to change in the hospitality, the culinary, the design, the creative space by opening 25 hours?
First of all, I think, it's a little similar. I don't know Saudi Arabia as well as I know Dubai by now, but I've been to Riyadh with you. I've been to NEOM, of course. And NEOM is a special beast. You cannot compare with anything. But coming back to Riyadh or Jeddah, I think these places have, the normal brands. Some of them are very good and very beautiful and, of course, professional, but nothing on the market is disruptive yet. Nothing on the market embraces the fact that Saudi Arabia perhaps was one of the youngest youngest population in the Middle East for sure, and maybe even worldwide. And for us, it's such a great opportunity to hook up, to embrace the culture, the city, the people, to develop something new. For us, it's always a new step if we do a new hotel. It's nothing where we say, okay, let's do it the same way as we have done in Dubai or as we have done in Paris. For us, it's a virgin experience in a way. We want to start from scratch again, and give me a country compared to Saudi Arabia, which gives us so many opportunities because the market is not discovered yet. If you go to Paris, if you go to London, if you go to New York, you have everything. You compete against so many brands, and you can only distinguish in a little facet. But in Saudi Arabia, we can start from scratch. We can create a whole new way of hospitality. And again, to me, my biggest dream would be, let's say, Riyadh or Jeddah, to really become the living room, the hub for the young crowd. And not only the young, I mean, we're young by heart. I'm not young anymore. But for those people who want to open up, who want to become part of a creative movement. And this is something which I could very well experience, as little as I know the place.
And I think Saudi, Christoph, would be extremely interesting. And I think we'll go through the journey of exploring Saudi the same way we've spent time exploring Dubai. But I think Saudi will have amazing people that we will meet along the way. A lot of creative people, a lot of people in the culinary space, and will allow us to really push the boundaries at our hotels. So, Christoph, actually, I don't want to take the conversation too much longer. I think that we should keep the interesting part to when we are in Saudi and for people to come and attend our session. So I think let's leave the best part of it to Saudi. It was a pleasure having the discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Same here.
Okay.
Can't wait. Thank you.
You think we're good?
Thank you.